Hello everybody. This is an experiment, so I hope you bear with me and we will try to learn to do this together. Today, what I would like to go over is explaining what is commonly known as the Allon plan. Now, the Allon plan was devised many years ago by Yigal Allon to somehow solve the Arab-Israeli conflict. And I'm going to show with my topographic maps exactly what the Allon plan is and just some of the reasons why it really doesn't make any sense. Okay, first thing is let's just understand what the Allon plan is. And the way you really understand it is you first look at my topographic map of Israel, and here you see the Jordan River. Now, from the Jordan River to the crest line, or the watershed line, is the Jordan Valley. And it's very steep. Very steep. Now, from the crest line to what is the green line is Western Samaria. And today we're really just going to focus on the northern half, because in my map you see this is Jerusalem. This is the northern lobe of the West Bank, and this is the southern lobe of the West Bank. So now, let's focus on this area. Okay. This area, again, you go from the Jordan River to the watershed line to the green line. Now, everybody should be looking at that blue patch over there and asking themselves what that blue patch represents. And that blue patch represents Israel's crown jewel of population, Tel Aviv, Hadera, Netanya. It's called the Netanya Tel Aviv coastal plain, or the Sharon coastal plain. Now, if you look at this area, you see that this is the West Bank, this entire mountain range right here. But now let's try to understand what the Allon plan is from the topography that I've just shown you. Now, to go from my topographic map, I'm now going to show you what is the actual original 1968 Allon plan. And when I first saw this map, I said, oh, I understand what they're doing, because I immediately recognized that this line here and this line here, if you go back to my topographic map, is the crest line, meaning the watershed. Water falls here and goes east, and water falls in Western Samaria and goes west, because that's how water flows, downhill. So I immediately said, oh, I understand what Allon's doing, going back to here, because I immediately understood that this was the crest line. And I said, oh, Allon, it must be keeping the brown part, which is the part that's closest to Israel, and giving up the valley, the part that's furthest away from Israel. Because if everyone just asks themselves a simple question, just intuitively, if you have people fighting over a piece of paper, and you have one side, one tug of war pulling one side of the paper, and the other side pulling in the other paper, when you divide it, what do? Well, the part that's closest to this person gets that piece, and the part that's closest to the other person gets the other piece. So that's sort of how I intuitively thought about it. So I thought when I saw this map that Israel was keeping the brown part and giving up the red part. That was until I read the caption. And what the caption said is areas to be returned to Jordan, or in this case the Palestinians, under the Allon plan. And then the red areas are, red striped areas, are areas to be annexed to Israel under the Allon plan. So when I looked at that and I went back to the map, I realized it was the exact opposite of common sense. Israel was giving up the part that's closest to Israel, and Israel's keeping the part that's furthest away. Now, I'm not gonna, in this tape, go into all the reasons why that doesn't make any sense. I will, in following videos, explain that. But the more fundamental notion is to just first understand that it is the exact opposite of common sense, in that Israel is going to be giving up all of this area and allowing a Palestinian state to be created, a terra-Palestinian state to be created right near Israel's, the heartland of Israel's population, 70% of Israel's Jewish population and 80% of her industrial base. And it's keeping the part that's furthest away. Now, we only have to look, and in my coming videos, I will explain further ways how that does not make any sense. However, for this video, we'll just be very, very simple and go back to the Gaza Strip, which was supposed to have the same idea, in that Israel gave up the northern part of the Gaza Strip and attempted to keep the southern part. It was called the Philadelphia Corridor. And very, very quickly, Israeli soldiers would go in there and they would get shot at from every single angle. So it became an impossibility to actually keep this area. And lo and behold, Israel gave up the Philadelphia Corridor. And the next thing you know, you have all sorts of weapons and rockets coming into the Gaza Strip and then being fired off into southern Israel. So now, getting back to the topographic map, you see that what the Allon plan would do is keep the Jordan Valley and give up the part that's furthest, that's closest to Israel's population center. Basically sandwiching this Israeli zone between a Palestinian state and a Jordanian state, which after you create a Palestinian state, God only knows how long that would last. So, that is our first video in this series, and I'm going to be including in my blog post of this video, I'm going to be including an article I've written with graphics that show much of what the problems are, but we will get in the coming videos a better idea and a deeper analysis of what the problems are with the Allon plan. Thank you very much for watching, and I wish everyone watching a beautiful day and a beautiful pro-Israel day. Thank you, and God bless you all.